All right, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan Aranda here, My Best Life Paraguay, and today we are joined by Luis Jose Global, right? And I found out about Luis Jose and his channel when he came here to Paraguay. A lot of you guys actually did. Specifically, you were in Asunción and Ciudad del Este, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool, cool. So we're gonna hop right into Luis Jose's story, right? And he's gonna introduce himself properly. And then we're just gonna keep this free flow, you guys. We have a lot of things in common, like just our mindset and our goals, and just like what we want to be doing, and the way we look at like the problems in America as well, and some of the solutions that, well, I personally think that a lot of younger men need to be taking, steps they need to be taking. Travel first, residency second, set yourself up abroad third, and then go from there. So I'm gonna stop talking, and we're gonna let Luis Jose introduce himself properly, you guys, and then we're gonna get into it. Whatever we start talking about. So, you want to introduce yourself, my man?
Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. So my name is Louis. I'm a native of New York, born and raised in New York. And yeah, I took a leap of faith and I started a travel channel. And basically, I'm doing what I've been doing for the last 10 years. It's just the difference now is I'm filming it.
Mhm. Yeah. I do remember you saying that. And that's a point that I brought up when I did a semi-reaction video to yours that I feel the same way. I wish I would have started because I've been coming down here for 12 years as well. And for various reasons I didn't start. But I wish I would have. Right. Um, but yeah, if you could tell us like your family story and history, and kind of lay out like your childhood as well. And then if we can get into like after 18, I know you were in the military, but if you could start like your family story, your Dominican heritage, right?
Awesome.
So yeah.
I was born in New York. My family, my parents, my mom and my dad, immigrated to the United States in the 80s. My dad came here in 1983 when he was a teenager, and then my mother came as an adult in 1988. I was born 1995. I have an older brother and two sisters. And basically, yeah, I was born in New York. Lived my childhood, my first 12 years in the Bronx. And then I moved here at 12, still live here in Yonkers, New York, which is basically Westchester County, which is, the county right outside New York City, just very north of it. And basically, ever since I was a kid, or even as a baby, I would travel to Dominican Republic. So I had a very, from since birth, experience going to another country, which is important because a lot of Americans don't travel outside the U.S. or unfamiliar with the world. So since early on, I had different perspective of what another country's like. That you can get on a plane and it's safe out there because there was still not so much anymore, but for a very long time, there was this closed mindedness of like the world abroad, like outside, outside like the U.S., maybe like Canada, Western Europe. People had this perception that everywhere else in the world that it's super dangerous. You get kidnapped, killed. So traveling and venturing off to different countries, especially like Latin America, was like still very like you know not people weren't as open to it as they are now. So I had that experience as a child going to Dominican Republic during the summers. So as a kid, I already been to a country that's let's say not considered um, as U.S. standards, so a developing nation. So I already had that experience growing up, and then basically as a kid, I kind of had this developed this passion, this like for geography, for different countries, for history. So I was very interested from a young age to go travel and to read and I had this interest of different countries and different cultures at a very young age. And I guess like the spark, like the influence was started when I was about 10. I was in fifth grade, and my teacher, he was Greek, and this man has been to every country in the world. And him, being Greek, he was a very proud Greek, and he would share with us his heritage, his culture, he would read us Greek mythology, and he would have pictures and like he was a very well traveled man. He was a teacher, so he would travel during his vacations, and I really got influenced by and inspired by that. But all that traveling, he'd been all over Europe, all over Latin America. He was a well traveled man, and I had that influence and inspirations since then. Since 10 years old, I was like, I want to do that. I want to travel the world. Um, and then that kind of stuck with me for a very long time. At this point, after 10, I haven't been able to do much traveling. I think I went to Dominican Republic again when I was 14, and then basically I graduated high school 2013, which is not too long after the 08, 09 recession. So at this point, the economy, there wasn't a lot of optimism. I kind of during my lifetime, or our lifetime, we had a lot of let's say we were born in a very interesting time. You had 9/11, you had the recession, you had the wars. So it was basically there was a lot going on. There wasn't like a peace, a time where there wasn't some kind of conflict or economic chaos or stuff like that. Um so I had I was 17, 16. I was trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. But before then, at 14, I have an uncle who went to the army. He did 3 tours in Iraq. And I remember, I'll never forget it. It was Thanksgiving 2010, I believe. And I had a long talk with my uncle about the military. And I think I was 14. I was in ninth or 10th grade, and I think 10th grade, I believe I was going on 15. And basically, he really inspired me, and that really talked me into to consider the military. And just talking to him that Thanksgiving day, 2010 November, I said like set. Like it was that back then things were much more simple and easy. It was just like you pick something, and then I'm gonna go with that. So that's what I decided. I was like, oh, I'm joining the military. I'm 100% set, because I just felt like during the time I didn't have a good shot at college. My mom was a single mother. We were very poor. We didn't have we scraped by. We paid bills, food, but that's it. Like there wasn't anything else. So I just felt like I wasn't in a position to go to college because of just my economic circumstances. Sorry, and I felt like the military would probably be a good opportunity for me to venture out, to go out, and to travel, and to make a name for myself and do something for me. And I joined the Marine Corps after graduating high school. I was 17 years old because of my birthday. My birthday's December, so I joined early because I graduated early since my birthday's late. Um, and yeah, so I was in the infantry. I was a rifleman. I got stationed in Camp Pendleton, California. So I went to the other side of the country in Camp Pendleton, right in between Los Angeles and San Diego. I did 4 years. It was won't deny it was pretty tough. It was probably the hardest 4 years of my life, but it ended up being the one of the. I think joining the military was probably the best decision that I've made. I don't know where I'd be without it. But it's given me so many opportunities, and it's opened so many doors for me, and it just opened my mind to just new possibilities. And I've had so many. I could have done. I can only imagine the things I could have done had I knowing having my mind that I have now. But one hell of a ride. So I did my 4 years, and while in the military, I went to I traveled a lot. I did 2 deployments in the Pacific area. I went to Japan, Thailand, Australia, Philippines, Guam, Saipan. I did a lot of traveling in the military. And so I get out, I'm 21 years old. Um, I have the GI Bill to go to college. I have money's not an issue. I have all the freedom. I want, I could do anything now. So I decided to go back to New York. And I go to college, go right into college, literally waste no time. I get out the military and then transition straight into college, and then started making really good money between GI Bill, VA benefits, and job. Um, at 22, 23 years old, I was making some really good money. So I'm a young single guy, and I'm like, hey, this is the time. So I just started traveling, and going everywhere I've wanted to go, doing everything I wanted to do. I've lived a really good life. My childhood wasn't the best, but my adult life so far has been pretty privileged. And basically, for all these years, people, that know me would know me for someone who has a passion of traveling, has likes to go out and do things and explore and go on adventures, right? And people always mention to me like, "Hey, why don't you do videos? Why don't you film it? Why don't you do YouTube? There's YouTube. There's so many people doing it. You're doing all these things that people don't normally do or don't get to do. Why don't you film it? Why don't you put it on camera and make videos?" And people would always tell me this, and I would be like, "Yeah, you're right. I should do this." And I've always had it in my head to do it, to get get a camera, start filming, get to work, and make videos. And because of fear, because of insecurities, I wasn't, um, I didn't feel confident enough to get behind the camera and to film myself. So throughout all of these years, where I could have been doing YouTube, who knows how long ago, I decided not to do it because I didn't have one of fear, and also I didn't have the vision. I didn't have the vision to begin. And if to take anything out of this is that, I basically drifted, after the military, college, graduated. The end of my college was with the start of the pandemic. So that was a whole, that really, how do I say, uh, threw me off course as far as like career choice and what I wanted to do next. So I basically, after college, drifted around and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was, very indecisive about like, all right, what am I going to dedicate myself? What is my passion? What I want to do? And the answer has been in front of me the whole time. I just didn't know how to approach it or how to take action, and literally it was simple. It was, you love to travel, you love freedom, you love, living, good quality of life. You put two and two together. You want to work for yourself. It's right. It was right there. Like it was literally written for me, right in front of me. But because of fear, or because, I don't know what it's about. I'm not sure. I have to look into it, or no, first I want to do this, or you know, I wasted a lot of time. And to get back to what I was saying about what to take out of this is, um, most people are struggling with this, are struggling with what they want to do, with where they're at in life, and it's just a matter of taking action. It's taking action, making a decision, what it is that you want to do, and just work towards it. So, um, the years have gone, years pass. Pandemic hits. I graduate college, and basically, I'm, how do I say it? I'm just on this limbo of what to do. So I'm like, let me just get a job, a regular job. Not that I'm passionate about it or nothing. I just got a job just out of a necessity, right? So I get a job at Enterprise, great company, but not for me. So I didn't, I did 6, 7 months on Enterprise. Should have stayed there longer, but left Enterprise, worked at FedEx, worked for a kitchen company. I had worked several jobs. So I was just drifting around with different jobs. Didn't know, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, and I'm just going in from job to job and just lost, just lost. I was considering becoming a cop. I'm just trying to find myself, young guy just trying to find himself and trying to find a path forward. As a man, that is your purpose. You want to do something that's meaningful and work towards it. And the solution was right in front of my face, and I just never took a chance until the stars and the moon and the stars aligned one day, and my uncle. And it's crazy how this is a very interesting story. My uncle was following a YouTuber. His name is Amaya Celaya. He's from El Salvador. He started, his story is also very interesting. He started YouTube about 7 years ago, I believe, and he's found a quite amount of success. He's amassed, I think, about 250,000 subscribers, and my uncle's following his channel, and my uncle had this interest. I do as well, about El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. Nayib Bukele is a rock star in Latin America and across the world. A lot of people like Nayib Bukele, his popularity, his form of governance, what he did in El Salvador. That something like that. Is a man like that is born once every 1,000 years. And following him, and then they started communicating through social media, like, hey, I like your stuff. I want to go to El Salvador. Oh, let me know if you want to come to Dominican Republic. And usually, most cases, that just stays in the air. Nobody really acts on, like, let's say you meet a random stranger, or let's say yeah, cool, but people, out of that fear, or like, oh, that unknown, a lot of people don't act on, like, actually, like, taking the step and meeting. Like, I could see myself, like, when I go to Paraguay, definitely looking up with you. But these cases are rare, and as far as, like, all the contact you have with people on social media. But nonetheless, they stayed in touch, and then eventually my uncle was gonna pick a day to go, and he told me about. He was like, hey, let's go to El Salvador. Let's make the trip. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I want to go to El Salvador. I've been once a long time ago in 2018. I had a 24-hour layover, and I was like, I want to go again. I want to see what El Salvador is like now. So we pick a day. I find out, he's a YouTuber and everything, and then I'm like, oh, this is very good. This is gonna be interesting. We meet the guy, ends up being a super cool dude. We get along with him well. We get to El Salvador. We spent a whole week with him, driving up and down the country, literally a week straight. And then he introduces another buddy of his that we're really close with. And literally, we get to El Salvador. We spend a whole week with this guy, and I see him while we're with him. He's very famous in El Salvador. He's very well known. And I can tell you that because while we were with him, people would like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like, and get his picture. So people would, like, he was like a celebrity. We walked around, and then, like, literally multiple people. We were in a festival in San Miguel, which is the eastern part of El Salvador. We would be sitting down or going somewhere or the restaurant, and people would be like, "Hey, Amaya, ¿cómo estás?" And they would greet him and ask for a picture. And this happened like 30 times. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And I'm seeing him do videos. I'm seeing him do lives. I'm seeing him go. And I'm just like, I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I can do this. Like, I can do this. And it was just that easy. He was showing me how he did it. Before, I thought that you need all this equipment, you need to do all this editing, you need all this crazy tricks. And it's just like, it's not that hard. Especially with the technology that we have now, the app editing with CapCut and all the stuff. It's democratized. So it's very easy for anybody to do and understand. So basically, I'm looking at him go, I could do this. So he throws the idea, like, yo, like, you should do this. Like, you should consider I'm trying it out. And spoken, it's like, okay, yeah, but then to actually act on starting a channel, because I've spoken to so many people. Everybody I know like would has like the interest of doing a YouTube channel, but like to actually do it because of that fear that I told you about earlier is very significant. People have a lot. Fear holds people back. Fear holds people back from doing what they want to do. Fast forward, after the El Salvador trip, months, I think 3 months later, my family had a family Dominican Republic trip. My whole family, my entire mother's side, had a Dominican Republic um trip, family trip planned, and my entire family, the only people that were missing out of my entire mother's side, was my cousin and my sister, but everybody else was there. We invited Amaya, and we did a whole video in our patio, which is basically like just our vicinity of where we have our houses and our land. It's like this private little area where it's all my my grandma's house, my aunt's house, uncle's house, all of our land, just like one little area, and we call it the patio. So we filmed there. My aunt just rebuilt her house, and I'm showing him around. I introduce him to all my family. I give him a fria, like a bienvenida, a nice cold beer, which is like a tradition. Like as soon as you land in the Dominican Republic, you got to drink a cold beer. And we're having a good time. And he's just filming all of this, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like the protagonist. I'm like the guy. I'm like the guy in the video going around explaining everything, doing all the talking. That video got 75,000 views, and I'm thinking to myself again, like I can really do this. I can see myself do it. I have the charisma, I have the character, I have the look. I could talk to people. I'm bilingual. I'm friendly. I can have conversations. I travel. So the answer was right in front of my face the entire time. Like it was literally just like like grabbing me by the collar, like this is it. So and out of fear, out of just like uncertainty, that I never pulled the trigger. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is that created a spark, right? It created a spark after we did that video. I really told myself, it really showed me that this is possible. That this is possible. I can do it. I can make this happen. That video got 75,000 views, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but for like somebody who's never done a video or done YouTube like that, that was significant. So that got 75,000 views, and we were just being ourselves, just showing just something so simple but so significant. People loved the video. And in the comment section, I saw people from all over the world. Saludos desde Argentina, saludos desde Nicaragua, saludos from just all over the place, just random countries like Germany, UK, India, Australia. People are commenting and saying where they're from, and I was like, wow, that's it. I was like, I'm doing this. Took me a little. I was still up in the air. But I really was inspired by that. So I was inspired by Amaya, just meeting him. He helped me. He gave me that push that I needed. And honestly, if it wasn't for Amaya, if it wasn't meeting him, I don't think I'd ever start. So fast forward, this is 2023 February. Fast forward, I'm back in the States. Struggling finding a job. We'll talk about this a little later, but job market terrible. I'm like, really not just only me, but any young person here could tell you right now that like the job market is very, very challenging. So having trouble finding a good job. I was literally like about to pull the trigger of becoming a cop. Didn't work out for me. So I'm like, damn, my back is against the wall. Can't get a good job. I'm unemployed, been unemployed for a very long time. Don't got nothing going on. What do I do? So I call Amaya. I'm like, Amaya, it was July 2023. My nephew came from California. My sisters live in California. So my nephew was 10. He came to New York to spend the summer with me and my mom. And he was with me for a month. And then it was time for me to take him back to California, to the West Coast. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna drop off my nephew and I'm gonna go somewhere. And I'm gonna start this channel. So I call Amaya. I'm like, yo, Amaya, I'm doing it. I'm gonna pull a trigger. I'm gonna start this. That's it. I got nothing else going on. I'm gonna take a leap of faith. Don't care what people think. Don't care if people judge me. I'm doing it. So I call him. I tell Maya, yo, let's. He's in El Salvador. So I was like, we were speaking about the plan, and basically I flew to LA. I dropped off my nephew. I flew into Guatemala. The flight was $60. I packed a backpack. I got my tripod and my phone. I didn't even have a mic. I did have a mic, but it wasn't. I didn't use it that much. And then I went into to Guate. We got started. We got to work, and that's how it all started. Just like that. Just took a leap of faith and just went for it.
Dude, that's awesome. Real talk. Yeah, I appreciate all that, all your history and backstory as well.
Yeah, sorry that I went so long with that, but
No, no,
it's a lot.
I like that. Then you give us context to work off of. Yeah, just to bring that up too. A lot of people don't know how to tell their story. They completely kind of forget about their childhood or like a lot of the things they've been, and they just kind of start at 18. I think that that's what us Westerners do because like you start at 18. That's when society like at least you deem not us, but like a lot of Westerners. Okay, this is where my life starts. Like, wait, hold on. Let me hear it up to 18. Just like you laid out. Whenever I
Yeah,
ask people, like explain your childhood, people really have an issue with that, or they don't really go too deep. For some reason, people really kind of push it down, right? Anyways, so man, well, another thing I like about you military guys is the military gives you guys such a good point of reference where whenever you're experiencing something good or bad, uh, you can like remember that time, like, oh shit, dude, like I already sacrificed so much, like in my time in the military. And so like whenever you guys do something like travel or even just like finding a job or going to college, you already have this like point in your life that you guys can like go back and reference to and have more, I guess, appreciation for when you guys go forward.
that's a
Um,
really good point. I haven't heard that enough. That's honestly good to hear it from you because that's so true.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, and I mean, I know that I've already covered a little bit of this when I brought up the points that you were making about like should you move abroad in 2025. Or just like travel or do something different. But yeah, the element of fear, that was the same thing for me, man. Like, I've been coming to Paraguay. That's when I met my biological family. If you guys don't know my longer story, I won't bring it all up now, but I met my biological family here in 2012. And then I came every single year after that. But I wish I would have done the same thing, man. I wish I would have started. The thing is like I was always like, but I can't keep this going. I can only be here like 1 month out of the year, but I still should have done it. Who knows where I would have been by now? And I know that you feel the same way. But if for any younger guys who are watching this, you just get started, man. It's not all about like pointing the camera at the mountains or the beaches. Like a lot of people just want to know like your growth, your journey and your goals, and if you're like hitting some of these things and doing some, I don't know, honestly, some pioneer kind of stuff. Whether you may, okay, maybe you're not the first person to film this village, but you're the first person with this perspective coming. Maybe you're the first Dominican American young man who has this new perspective on this new place. And maybe it's not just like let's keep it honest, but like a 50-year-old white man, right? You're going to have different experiences and you're a different person behind the camera, you know?
Yeah, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
That's another thing. People think that because like that's like let's say if you want to be a singer, oh I can't be a singer because there's so many singers out there. People if you had that if the other singers who were successful had that mentality, that there wouldn't be any more singers now. That's we would listen to only the music that came out from now in the past, and that's it. There wouldn't be any more new music. But you it really ties into that fear, and the fear of the unknown, the uncertainty. It's human nature,
Mhm.
but you just have to try. Like take a leap of faith. and just go for it. Take a baby step. Try, go on one trip or whatever your goals are. And it's just a matter of just going for it. Like, you don't have to be the smartest person. You don't have to be, genius or super rich or super this or that. You just have to take action and go, because there's a lot of people who are very successful that are not super smart, or they're not better than you. They're not, they're not genetically superior. No, they just they began their journey, and they just kept going. They kept swinging the bat every single day. And if you do that, eventually the universe will yield to you. You just have to begin. You just got to start. You don't got to be super smart. I was like, oh, I don't like how I sound. I have a speech impairment. I have a slight speech impairment. I think people are gonna make fun of me. I think I'm gonna get judged. People are gonna look at me like, yo, you're fucking 30 years old. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're freaking doing YouTube videos. Like, this guy's a loser or whatever. Like, or whatever the case may be. Like, you have that, and you put this in your mind, like this poison that's just like, you're convincing yourself that you're talking yourself out of it, because you're putting all this in your head. But it's to be frank with you, nobody cares. That's the thing. Like, if you just accept that, like, if you just accept that nobody cares, like, at all, like, you gotta do what you want to do, and don't. I think the biggest thing is to just stop caring about what people think. Like, once you do that, it's so liberating. It's so liberating to just get past that part. So, like, don't overthink it. Just baby steps. Stop caring about what people think. Figure it out. What you want to do, and just start. Just begin. Just begin. Just do one video, or let's say if you want to lose weight, come up with a good game plan, try different things, and just work towards that goal. Like, figure it out what it is that you want, and just funnel your energy, your effort, your time, your resources into that, and that's it. You just keep going. That's really what it is. It's as simple as that. Another thing that I wanted to bring up that I feel like people have just forgotten about is finances. For this kind of lifestyle, you need to you don't need to be coming from a rich family or be super privileged or anything. You just have to It has to be a priority, right? So finances are very important, and America, and ties into why the quality of life is going down, and why people are looking elsewhere to go other places. But the quality of life is going down due to the financial situation in the U.S., the economy, the job market, the opportunities, the cost of living. But America's economy, right, is based largely on consumption, right? We get a job, we finance things, we get into debt, and we have to, by the time you're 25, like, you have 12 payments of just BS that people get into. They finance a brand new car. The average car payment right now in the United States is $800. It's ridiculous. And the reason why this is important, this is relevant, is that a lot of people um don't follow their dreams, don't take action on stuff they want to do, because they're just stuck in this vicious cycle of bills and debt, and they they're just so focused on surviving and paying bills, that they don't have a hour to think to think for a second of just about them. Like, you're so caught on the rat race, because you're freaking paying 15 subscriptions, and a car payment, high experience. You're financing your TV, your expensive furniture, and your. So the point I'm trying to make is that and this goes for everybody. It doesn't matter if you want to be an actor, a musician, a YouTuber, or whatever you want to do. Even if you want to have a business, um, you need to have stability, financial stability, right? And um, and not get into debt. So people always ask. Everybody asks. Everybody always brings this up, no matter who I meet. Yo, how are you able to travel? Like, how do you afford? How do you do it? Like, what? Yo, like, what's your secret? Like, and it's pretty simple. Like, one, I don't have kids. That's one. That's a big factor. I'm a single young guy. Two, I don't my clothes. If you look at my closet, I don't really have the fanciest clothes. You know, I shop at Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and you know, that's my go-to for clothing. Marshalls, TJ Maxx. What's the other one called? There's another one. I forgot the name. Burlington, I think it's called. But yeah, I shop there, right? But my shoes are not that much money, you know. And the reason why I bring that up is that this country that, as I said earlier, is based on largely based on consumption, right? We have a per capita GDP that's very high, and we buy stuff, right? This economy is a huge part of it is that. So we finance, we get the new iPhone every year. We have an expensive car that we can't afford. We have all these payments, you know, we have all this debt, you know, and we have credit cards that are at the roof that are just, it's mind-bogglingly high. Interest is just killing you. So how are you going to be able to um take, you know, do a side gig, to do what you know, have your 9 to 5, but let's say on the side, I want to start a business. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to do, you know, be an actor or singer. I want to rap or whatever. Um, if you're just living to pay bills, you know. So basically, getting your finances in order is a huge component to achieving what you want to do, your goals, and just in all aspects. Like, it doesn't matter what field, what industry. Like, I feel like it's very crucial, very important. It's a key to being able to have freedom and flexibility to venture out, to take that leap of faith, to explore, to adventure. Because it's just like, how are you gonna, like, if your credit card is maxed out, your card payment is 800, that doesn't make any sense. So that's a serious problem, you know. So one thing, eventually, what I would even do, like, a new little channel on the side, something like that talks about finances and like health, mental health, and stuff like that. Because there's just basic things that I feel like people do and implement can change, you know, can drastically make a difference in their life. So don't get into, like, right now, for example, I have an Acura RDX 2016, right? Not pretty decent car. I bought it a year ago, about a year and change ago. I bought it cash deal. I went to Chicago to get it. I got a really good deal on it, but paid it in cash. Don't have a car payment. My insurance, New York is notoriously high insurance. My insurance is about $200, 210. Liability, because it's not financed. I own it. I have no debt. I have, like, it's like maybe like a little bit of, like, that's paid. I could pay off. But I have no student loans because of the military. I have nothing crazy, you know. So I have already that's freed up. You know, just having no debt, you're already richer than the half of the country. So now I have, whatever money I make is mine, because I don't have, I live at home. That's another big factor. Living at home, keeping your expenses down. Like, you don't need to upgrade to the new. I have the 14. You know, I might get the 17 when it comes out. I do every 3-4 iPhones, right? I don't do every year, because the iPhone is like $1,000. Doing that every year it's a lot. But these just these principles that I live by that been able to give me the freedom to, to do what I wanted to do, to travel, and I made it a priority that I want to travel. All right, how do you do it? What do you need to travel? You need money. You need to buy flights. You need to buy, cost money to Airbnb, hostel, food, that costs money. So I'm like, all right, I make this amount. This is what I need to live, and I'm gonna set aside money to go on these trips, and I did it. So, you need to increase your income, you need to reduce your expenses, unnecessary expenses. You need to budget. You need to get rid of debt. Having no debt is gonna free up more money. It's gonna be more money in your pocket. And then, all right, you want to try, you want to live abroad. What I'm doing, like, I'm gonna gather, hopefully, by first week of March, I'll gather 20,000. I'm going to Asia for 9 months, and then I'm locked in. I'm fully dedicated to the YouTube, and if I could build a channel enough, I monetized about like I think it was like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Obviously, it's not making a whole lot, but I'm gonna lock in, grow the channel, and if I can make a significant amount, I could keep this going. And honestly, I don't know about you, but just the idea of living abroad and making USD is just like it's a dream to me. That's a dream that I want to have. I want to make US dollars and live abroad
Mhm.
and basically live the life that I want to live.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of just priorities, man. It really, everything, whatever you want is in life, you can do it, man. If you just prioritize it and just funnel your energy, your resources into that, like this is what I want to do. There's 24 hours in every day. I need to allocate a certain amount of time and effort to this, and you'll get there. That's what it is. I've been doing YouTube for I think I started 6 months ago, 5 months ago, and I had 1,500 subscribers. I monetized. It's not a whole lot, but I think the biggest accomplishment I did was starting.
Yeah.
That's already 50. I'm already 50% there. I feel like I'm 50% towards success just for starting.
Yep.
I feel like that's one of the biggest. I think I got through the biggest obstacle, the hardest part, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, definitely. And yeah, for myself included, because once you start reaching, especially monetization, right? Once you get that, like you will reach 10,000. You will reach 15, 20, 50,000, 100,000, as long as you stay consistent. And like if you build your good base, it's gonna pop. I mean, time alone is on your side. uh so I always tell people, I'm like, look, you guys, I know maybe 5, 10 years ago everybody would look at you crazy as shit if you're gonna start a YouTube channel, but you should go for it. I mean, it could literally be your residual income later in life. As long as you can
Oh
keep,
yeah.
even if you go back to the States, Luis Jose is in the States right now, you guys. So, he's building up his money, and, even back in the States, you have more validity to even just continue to talk about anything because you have traveled the world. You've done things that other people have not. So, like, even when you go back to the States and talk about dating, you have a whole new perspective now that 99% of people where you're from don't have. So you can like continue these topics even when you go back to the States, and then when you go step back out in the world again. So it's something that you can continue. Like everybody asks me, right? They have the same fear element, like, oh, I don't know if I have absolutely everything in order quite yet. So I'm just gonna keep holding it off, holding it off, holding it off. I'm like, you have enough in order though. Especially like you were saying, like, well, one of the biggest themes that you were talking about is sacrifice, right? Like, what am I willing to sacrifice, whether it's my time, whether it's not having certain things. Like, I didn't have a car in the US for fucking 7, 8 years. And
New Wisconsin.
yeah. And so like, yeah, I lived close enough to the job I needed to do, so I could either like really, well, relatively cheap Ubers when I actually needed to go to the office. Yeah, I was hybrid, but still. Um, but a lot of people value the shit out of their cars. And like you said, 800 a month for a car payment, which doesn't include gas or insurance or any of this other crazy shit.
It's crazy.
I just did a cost of living video, and it's popping off right now. But it's after rent, $800 covers all of my expenses down here.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah, food, electricity, Wi-Fi, TV, garbage, water, entertainment, transportation. So 800 covers all of that stuff.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I did pay rent up front for the year. So like that's just one thing I'm just not worrying about right now. I might actually have to be in a position where I will step back to the States to do the same thing that you're doing. like get money up again. Just I'll see in the next like 3 4 months where I'm at. But yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys just don't start because you have insecurities. Like I know you talked about, I did as well. And plus, you just never think it's the right time. But if you think that way, then you're just never gonna start, and that's the problem. Um, YouTube, like Jack Morgan always says, like it's a gold rush right now, and the sooner you get started with it, the more of a pioneer you're gonna be. And this travel game has changed. Like everybody used to think, oh, you need $1,000 camera and a drone. That's not true though. Now you can just more personal. Yeah, people do latch onto the scenery and where you're at and stuff, but half the time they want to know who you are and your story. So if you talk about your trials and tribulations, like, and then like where you're at now, see, I know me and you didn't film everything for the last 10 years when we've been traveling, but you have a lot of stories though. Yeah, maybe you didn't pick up the camera, but you can still go back on those, just like I do all the time. I'm like, I always find myself talking about, oh, this year in Paraguay, and oh, okay, now I'm back here, and this is how much things have changed, and uh,
Yeah, and I had the camera in my hand the whole time because I've been using my iPhone 14 for the entire channel since even to this day. I have a DJI that I just bought, but I've been using my iPhone 14, and I'm like, I could have used this phone this whole time that I've been because I didn't even like I didn't really think of like when you think of YouTube and film, you think of oh expensive camera. Oh, I need to get a camera. I need to get this. I need to get a MacBook to edit. I did everything from my phone, every single thing, all the video editing, all because my videos are very simple. It's very simple. Very raw. It's and then the reason why I started it that way, that I did it that way, it was because I was like, I know this is very important too. Um, People want things to be perfect. They don't start because they want to be ready. They want to make sure once they launch like that it looks immaculate. And it's just like don't worry about that. You're not gonna be immaculate. You're not gonna be perfect. Like when I started, like I know my videos, my like all the videos that I've done so far are not like 5 star, top standard, high quality. I know they're not. But the point is, I was like, yo, let me just not worry about that right now. Let me just start. Let me start. Let me get to work. Let me get in the habit of because there's a lot more that goes into it. And this is why starting is so important. Now I feel now that I've done like 50 videos, like maybe like 40 something videos, I feel so comfortable right now filming in public. I could do it now. I've gotten the hang of speaking on the camera, going places. I've built the habit. I'm getting. I have the more experience now, and down the line as time goes on, I'm gonna improve my videos. Every time I make a new one, I'm gonna make sure because there's things I forget. I forget to take a picture to get a nice thumbnail. I forget to do that. I forget to add this part. I have like dead space or like let's say or like 10 seconds of me not doing anything or this the stuff that I gotta work on.
mhm.
But right now, my videos are a lot better than my first one. I speak a lot better, feel more confident. I have more, add more things that are more important. It's more of a more interesting. So what I want to say is that just start. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about it being immaculate. Just begin, and then as you go, you improve. And that was the thing. Like I was like, oh, I got to make sure that it looks nice, that it's perfect, that I look good, that it sound good. It's not like I can't. I was like, what? Let me just start. Let me just record. I'm not worried about it being perfect. I'm gonna keep it simple, keep my videos simple, and I'm gonna keep going because if I was just too worried about the editing, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna freaking be stuck on one video. I'm gonna just let me just make videos, put content out there. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but I'm gonna just begin. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make the videos, and as through time, I'm gonna keep improving, and I can confidently say that the videos that I make a year from now are going to be tremendously better from the first video. Let's say your first you start YouTube or you start whatever let's say you start let's say you do your first video, right? Let's say 2025 January 1st you start. And your first video is terrible, right? But you keep going. You don't quit. You just stick to it. And then years go on, let's say 2027, you're still going at it, right? You're still going at YouTube, you're still making videos, but you tremendously improved, right? And people are gonna look at that. People are gonna see that, wow, this guy's still going, this guy's still at it. This guy's still making videos. This
Mhm.
guy's still there. He's still, and people are gonna see the growth. So I'm sure like they saw your first video. They saw that how, you know, it wasn't too good. It was just like you just randomly moving the camera around, it's all over the place, and you're just like talking to yourself in the middle of nowhere. You're not doing like it doesn't. It's not a good video, right? Let's just say, for example, and then 2 years later, your videos are amazing, so entertaining, so engaging, and it's like, wow, people have people have everybody has so much respect for that growth, right? For that growth that, let's say, from day one, and then you kept at it, and then you improved that, and that journey, that growth is like so admirable, so admirable. So what I want to say is that just begin. It's not going to be perfect, and Mr. Beast, which is probably the most successful YouTuber, this helped me. This really took, how do you say it? It kind of like relieved me, I guess you could say, when what he said that he was like, yo, your first video is gonna be trash. Your first 100 videos are not gonna be good, right? He said you can confidently say that your videos are not gonna be good. He said it himself, like his I think his hundreds of his first, like when he started, like they were terrible. His videos were bad. But he said that you need to start, and then as you go, like as you make your videos, you improve one thing every time. You make a little adjustment, you make one little improvement, and then he was like, yo, after you make 100 videos, you're gonna see, like, look at your first video and look at your 100th video, and then you're gonna see a drastic improvement. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty, and this goes for everything. Just start. Don't worry about it being perfect. You're not gonna become, a super successful like YouTuber or anything just overnight. It takes time. It takes consistency, and I feel like a lot of people um out of they get impatient with the process, and then they quit because they just don't see, like, I'll give you an example. Like, I see sometimes when the video doesn't do good, I'm like, damn, it kind of like, shit, I only got this amount of views, but then I had a video that did 10K, but some days it's gonna be like that. The video could be good, you know it's just, it wasn't the time, it just, right now it's just not doing well, but that's okay. You got to keep moving. The next video I might put up might do really well. It's just, you got to just keep going, trust
Yeah.
the process, and just be patient. It's not going to happen overnight, but the biggest thing is just literally, I think the number one and most important thing is just starting. I think that has the most value.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree, man. Yeah, and yeah, another thing about YouTube is like it I mean, it's not just the video stuff. I'm sure you made a lot of connections. A lot of
Oh,
people
yeah.
all around the world probably contact you. I mean, I was blown out of my mind how many people around the world. Oh, like more than a dozen countries in Europe, Australia, England, Ireland. I mean, everywhere. People from Spain write me in emails in Spanish, and like it's endless the amount of people you can get in contact with, and everybody has some kind of specialty, and so you can learn a lot of things too. Not just like the YouTube stuff, but you can make serious connections. In fact, like some of some of my the people I talk to the most and like are become some of my best friends are people who have found my channel, and we just stayed in contact, and they're gonna come here to Paraguay. A lot of them are coming real soon. But it's endless opportunities beyond that. And then, you get bigger, then you could start like promoting products, and it's not just the it's not just what you see on the screen. There's everything else that can come from it, right? And even the skills you build. There's a great YouTube video that like it laid out all the skills, right? Like you improve the way you speak, storytelling abilities, filming, videography, video editing, sound quality. I mean, it's just endless, like the things that you can learn. So even I know this is a scary thought for a lot of people, but like a lot of people are scared to leave the corporate world and like give themselves 6 months, 9 months, a year abroad. But the thing is, like, you could learn so many more skills, right? And not only that, you could have a product. They're like, hey, I did something successful. Look at this. Like, I out of scratch, I created this whole thing, and people will respect that. People like, maybe not every employer is going to be thrilled if you try to like go back in the corporate world, but it is something that's admirable, and so yeah, man. Yeah, the YouTube game. Yeah, I just, I guess, like, my advice, and Luis's advice is just get started, man. You don't have to
Exactly.
be the best. But
And you know,
yeah.
sorry to cut you off, but just to add on, like with the what you were saying earlier about how it opens doors, because you have I think his name is Theo. He's a comedian, and a lot of like the comedians, other YouTubers, they do these podcasts, right? And this guy's a comedian making funny videos, and he interviewed the president of the United States. Like that's so dynamic, just how like you go from just like you imagine being a comedian doing skits or funny videos to interviewing the president of the United States. Like that is so impact, so significant,
Mhm.
So it just shows you um like the growth, the opportunities, the possibilities. You just start, like, you start your craft, you start what you want to do, and you just work at it. Even if you're gonna start small, and that's okay. Everybody was there. Everybody started small. Like I don't have a lot of subscribers. I have 1,500 subscribers, right? There's people with millions, but they had 50 subscribers before. Like I'm sure Baldwin Bankrupt, he had. I remember he in the video he was saying, "Yo, I was in this very bar 6 years ago, and I was celebrating 30,000 subscribers. Now he has like 5, 6 million." So it just shows you, just you keep at it, you stick with the vision, and then the growth and the opportunities will be there. But it's a matter of perseverance, it's a matter of patience, and enjoying the process. Like I'm so excited. Like sometimes it's hard for me to sleep at night just thinking about it. I'm super excited for this journey that I'm gonna go on. It takes a lot of courage. It's not like, to go venture out, and like you were saying with the people, those people that stopped working for a year. I met a lot of people like that on this last trip to Latin America. One of my buddies from Australia, he trains rugby players, I believe. He does fitness, and he took a year off and he traveled all over Latin America. He went to every country between Mexico and Argentina, and in between. He went everywhere. He doesn't regret it. I wouldn't. Nobody's gonna regret that. Like it might hurt. Like let's say now when you have to transition back into to your country and then work again, or say, it might be a little tough. But down the line, those memories, those experiences you have, those memories you build, those friends you make, like you can't put a price on that. I don't think I've ever been happier than when I was with when I was in Paraguay. I met that Australian guy. I met the American guy. I met a Irishman, and then I met where was the other guy from? So it was me, Dominican American, an Australian, an Irishman, and a guy. He was from, I think, Nevada. It's four of us having the time of our lives in Paraguay. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Colombia, I've also met other people, and just hanging out, having a good time with these guys from different countries, living our best life, just people being people, just having a good time. Like I think I never lived so much. I just felt like I was just on an adventure. It's just like that was living. I wasn't worried about having the biggest house or the fanciest car or all these material things that I feel like are meaningless. But these experiences are just like I felt really like happy, I'm really living life. Like I could be in the U.S. working towards like a certain financial goal, right? I could, I want to get a house, I want to get a nice car to impress people that don't care, or I was out here just with meeting these, making these friends, making these connections, and just having the time of my life, seeing the world, and I've had such a good time, and honestly, that is, I feel like, priceless. In Argentina, in Iguazu, I met, I mean, great friends, like lifelong friends. Like friends that I'm like, yo, where you at? You in Brazil? I'm be there. That yo, come crash. Like I have buddies in Hong Kong, have a guy in the UK, like, yo, where you at? Like, I'm here, yo, pull up, like that, like brothers, you know. I have like, and I met those guys in my trips. You know, I met
Mm-hmm.
there was I became really close to these two guys from Hong Kong, right? They were in I was in Bolivia, and they were in front of me to pay for there was the lucha, you know, the little cholitas that wrestle in the dresses in Bolivia. They were right in front of me. It's a very interesting story. They were right in front of me paying the ticket, and they didn't speak Spanish. I was like, this guy, you know, they're Asian. You know, they speak English. So I'm like, they're probably from Canada, from somewhere. And I'm like, yo, what's up, guy? Like, you know, everything good? Like, you know, he's like, oh, we don't have enough. They don't take card. We don't have cash. And I was like, well, how much is it? It was like cheap. It was like $3 a ticket, something like it was very cheap. And I was like, yo, don't worry, I'll pay for it because I had a lot of cash on me. I always carry a decent amount of cash. So I'm like, yo, I got it. I paid for them. I was like, oh, thanks, man, I appreciate it. They were like, no, I'm for it. I'm like, nah, I got it. It's nothing. I'm from the US. Where you guys from? Oh, from Hong Kong. Oh, where? And then we became cool. And I was like, yo, yeah, you guys want to get some beers? Yo, we bought a freaking 12-pack chips, everything, and we brought it with us to the freaking to the match. And then I literally we spent like a week or two together, 3 countries. But we were in Bolivia, I met him in Peru, and then we were going the same route. So we met in Bolivia, met him again in Peru, and then met up again in Colombia. And these guys are like super cool, that Andy and Jeffrey, if you're watching this, miss you guys, man. But these guys, like I met on my trips, and lifelong friends, consider them brothers. One's in Hong Kong and one's in UK right now. But like that just shows you like the kind of connections you make. Like um, you have your family. Like I said earlier about like I have family, that lives close to me that I barely see. Everybody's working. Everybody's always working, focused on like you barely see your family. So you feel like you don't even have family in the United States. You feel like you don't um you feel that disconnection, but over abroad, you kind of abroad. I feel like when you meet other travelers, you have this bond that's special. That people kind of gravitate towards you and they open up to you in a way that they wouldn't in their country. It's very interesting. Like when you meet other Americans, or other people, it's just like you create this bond. It's like it's kind of similar to what you do in the military, how you have that military, that brotherhood, but when you travel and you meet another American in the middle of, let's say, I don't know, in a random country, I don't know, freaking Indonesia or something, or that's too touristy. Maybe like I don't know, Bolivia, for example. I meet another American. I'm like, oh snap! People are gonna gravitate towards you and open up to you, and
Yeah.
you can make that connection. But they wouldn't. Maybe like if you met them in the U.S., they probably that that connection probably wouldn't happen.
Mm.
But it's very interesting and then all these things, all these perspectives. It's like, I know this and understand this because I've done it and experienced it. But somebody who's never been, you know, it really opens your mind. That's why traveling is important. Traveling is important to go out there, see a different perspective. If you can, and it's possible, if you live in the US, Australia, UK, whatever, it's very possible to, take a year. And this is something like I would do like 100% in my lifetime, at least in your lifetime. Take a year off, save up money, go sacrifice for a little bit, work a second job, do Uber Eats. I'm doing Uber Eats right now. Do Uber Eats Fridays to Saturdays, work a second job, sacrifice. Don't go out every weekend. Sacrifice, save money, sell your stuff that you don't use, save up, and take a year off. Take a year off and travel. You could do it. You could definitely. You'd be surprised. People think that. Another thing is that people think that they need a crazy amount of money to travel.
Yeah.
Traveling now is cheaper than ever because there's so much popularity of traveling that has grown that airlines are competing. So flights are not that much money. Flights are not that expensive. Airbnbs, hotels are not that expensive. Maybe hotels, but hostels and Airbnbs it's very doable.
Yeah.
There's so much competition now that you could fly from, I'll give you an example. My New York to New Delhi flight is a 14-hour flight. Guess how much it costs? $330 one way.
Yeah.
That is not a lot of money to go all the way to India, 14-hour flight.
Wow.
My flight from Guatemala, from LAX, was $60. And it came with a backpack. So it's very doable. It's not super hard or expensive. Like, people are like, oh, I don't know, like, where do I stay? Where do I go? Like, go on Google, go on YouTube. People break it down for you. Here's where you go. Here's where you stay. I got to the airport. There's so much information available that is crazy. That I don't know why people are still confused, still lost, or still scared. And like, what do I like? For example, I'm a seasoned traveler. What do I do when I want to go somewhere? I'm gonna go. Let's say I go to a new country. Before I go, I do my homework, I do my due diligence, and I research the country. I'm like, all right, where are the good spots to stay? And with my experience, I could easily identify like the good area. I could just look at a map and I could just narrow it out to like, okay, here, go here. I already have it in my head where to go. Like when I went to Colombia, Paraguay. I did quick research. I'm like, all right, looked at Asuncion. Okay, these are the good areas. Villa Mora was like one of the nicest areas downtown. Okay, this is the distance. I just do just quick, easy research that you can do on your phone. Any smartphone could do it. And you just take 20 minutes, do the research, where to stay, where to go, what to do, the airport, get into the Airbnb or the hostel, distance, and how much it costs. It's simple, and that information is available to you. So you just do your homework. It's very easy stuff, especially with today's technology. We're not in the 80s anymore when you don't have internet, but now it's just like with the internet and with smartphones, it's literally ABC.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, it's they're all great points, and real talk. And so yeah, we've talked about like linking up a lot with other travelers and stuff. But if you can, we'll switch this into how you've been received by locals and also ladies, right? Abroad, right? I mean, I can already probably tell this is a much more pleasant experience. Like even when you start going to other countries, people locals will open up to you more as well, especially if you speak Spanish.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but even the dating lady situation is much more pleasant as well. Let's just be honest here. So if you want
Spice
to
things up a little
get
bit.
into you want to get into all of that, and in fact, here actually, before you start, you guys, if you want to know how to act or how to approach and how to keep a good conversation going with ladies down here in Paraguay, watch his videos, man, because there's a lot of guys who do shit wrong or they just like come off as like, I don't know, man. It's not even just Westerners. I mean, there's Argentinos and Brazilians that they just be doing too much, man. But if you guys want to like to know like how to approach, like what to say, like watch his videos when he was out in Ciudad del Este. But yeah, man. If you wanna elaborate on that, like how you've been received by locals, the guys, but also the ladies, you know.
Oh yeah, 100%. So we're talking just Paraguay or just Latin America in general.
Well, wherever you've been, yeah,
So um, I've been fortunate to 99% of the time have very good experiences. Obviously, in my case, it's definitely your experience. Like just to be um, completely transparent, your experience is going to differ whether or not you speak Spanish. In Latin America, in Paraguay, 100%. That doesn't mean that you can't make the best out of it because there's plenty of people that don't speak Spanish that have an incredible time and they make it work. So, in your case, let's say for example, if you don't speak Spanish, you can still make it work. You can still have a good time. You can still interact with the locals. The locals will still attend to you and try, and locals, people in Paraguay, just in Paraguay's case, phenomenal. Honestly, super nice people. People in Paraguay were very friendly, very nice. Even if you don't speak Spanish, I mean, I don't even understand the Paraguays because a lot of times they're speaking Guarani or they're mixing it. I'm like I'm like I don't even understand people in Paraguay,
yeah,
but it's people are super friendly. Like in Latin America in general, everybody's nice. 99% of people you're gonna get much friendlier, much nicer people. Like I don't want to be like the negative. I don't like being negative about the U.S. so much, but here, like you're not gonna get that here. Like especially in New York. I mean, every state is different, but people here are not so friendly. People are here not so approachable. People here kind of like get out of my way. It's very very self centered. Nobody holds the door for you. People are inconsiderate. People take up 3 parking spaces. People like, like that's here. But in other, like in Latin America or in other countries, they have more of a collective, mentality. They think about their neighbor. They're considerate about others. They hold the door open. They share their things. In America, it's very individualistic. It's just me.
Yeah.
So when you travel, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see people really open. You're gonna see a whole different side of just human nature that you don't really see in the U.S. And then people are very friendly. People are very nice. If you need help, people will help you. And you're gonna see that. Um, so I've been fortunate, since I speak Spanish, and I'm like, I look a little different and I have a completely different accent. It just helps spark that like interest, that interest. So everywhere I've gone, in Latin America, I'm tall, I look like, they always compare it to like a singer or celebrity. They're like, yo, like Romeo Santos or whatever, or like, oh, you look like
Definitely
this guy. So
very
everywhere I go in like Latin America, I've been very fortunate. Like, people, so when I go to, let's say, for example, in Paraguay, everybody thought I was like Brazil. They'd be like, Brazil? Like, oh, Brazilian, right? Or in other Latin American countries, I would blend in because, I have, that Latino look. In Colombia, people would, and most of the places I go to, aside like maybe Guatemala, I look like a local. But once they hear me speak, they're like, oh, where are you from? They hear the accent. So it's been very easy for me to spark conversation, to just, speaking the language is just so, it's something you should do. Like if you're going to live in Latin America or have a life abroad, if you only speak English, you should learn another language. I highly recommend um, speaking Spanish because it just makes a world of a difference. Or Portuguese if you want to go to Brazil or wherever you want to go, I would learn the language. It's fundamental to just maximize the experience. So
yeah.
speaking Spanish is honestly it's a huge difference. The locals, it's been really easy for me. Like I don't realize it, but just to spark conversation, to talk to people, and now of course to go into the dating side. It is so much. I mean, a lot of people think that if you go abroad to date to get girls, that it's because you can't get a girl in the U.S. You know, and that may be that may be true for some guys. Some guys maybe they have a hard time dating in the U.S. But I don't know. Dating in Latin America and dating in Asia is just it's significantly better. I feel like
Yeah.
dating in the U.S. I mean, dating in Latin America. I mean, I feel like over the last like 10 years, like it's dating in the U.S. is becoming just a bit more and more challenging. You know, more and more costly, and when you travel a lot, it's just like, damn, it's just so much better here. Like it's so much better for me to date. It's so much better for me to be a man. And just what I can do, what I get. Like it's just here in this country, I have more options. There's more beautiful women. It's better dating. It's much more affordable. I can do more of what I have. I can offer more. I can have better experiences. The women are more feminine. The women are just overall better. But I feel like in the U.S., now like this is the mentality where women just kind of like they just kind of want you to prove yourself like to them and like thinking like you're like, oh, like,
Yeah.
like it's all this. I just feel like in Latin America, women are still down to earth.
Yeah.
And granted, yes, you being a foreigner and then like there's always that, okay, he's from the US, you can do more than the local Paraguayan or local Colombian or local Mexican because your your purchasing power is so much stronger. Like you can take a girl out, a lot of locals can't go on a fancy restaurant and take a girl out and
Yeah.
do two, three places in one day. A lot of guys can't do that. So you're able to offer, you're able to do much more than what local can. So you have that incentive. But overall, even if despite that, I just think dating in Latin America is a lot better. It's much better to be a man. You just have a much bigger pool. There's a lot more. The demographics are just much better. In the United States, like you have there, I feel like there isn't as many attractive people as you see in like Paraguay and like Colombia. It's just there's an abundance of it's like more in your favor as a man. Like you're a young man. There's an abundance of beautiful women, and I'm just talking like just straight. I'm just giving like what it is, straight facts. And then
Yeah.
how people want to take it is how they decide. But
Yeah.
you have um an abundance of beautiful women, a lot of young girls, right? A lot of 18 to 30 is like the average, like, it's a young population, better demographics, compared to the US. And so it's just overall, just you have more options. You have, it's much more affordable. You could do more because going on a day in New York is super costly. It's just a
Yeah.
lot. So yeah, so you're investing more, right? I'm spending so much more money, and you a lot of times get less out of it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I can date in the U.S., but I just choose not to because it's very expensive. And I don't know. It's just I feel like it's just already experiencing dating abroad is just like so much better. It's just so much better. The women, the quality of women, it's just you can't. I mean, everybody would agree that like I don't know, dating a Colombian woman, a Brazilian woman, or a Paraguayan woman is just once you try it, like once you like. I went to Paraguay. I met a chick, and that experience is like damn, you kind of don't want to look back. Like that was like wow, that was great. It felt like I made. I think I don't know if I said this in my videos, but when I went to Paraguay and I went out like to the bars, to the clubs, and the girls and everything, it felt like Latin America 10 years ago. It felt like I went back in time, like just the feel, the people and chicks and the. I was like, wow, I feel like I went back in time.
Yeah.
There was just this energy that I just had that I haven't felt in such a long time,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's great, man. Look, it's. I think Latin America is honestly, and Asia is just the best. It's just the best place to be a man. Like it's just much better. Like hands down, it is. It doesn't matter how you want to put it, whether like your money, your game, or because you're a citizen, or because you can't get girls in the states, or it's just regardless. Even if you can get you're the you date a lot in the states, it's just still significantly better in Latin America. I feel like just dating, just overall, it's great. I do when I date, let's say in Colombia or let's say Paraguay, it's just I have this feeling like wow, like I don't a woman does not make me feel this way in the U.S. like that. It's just like I feel like I gotta go through hoops and trenches and jump up. Like I just feel like in the United States it's different. It's not it's just getting worse. Dating is getting worse, and like
Yeah.
I don't have like the time and the resources to invest into dating here. Like I just think that the exchange is not it's just not there. Like what I have to put in or what I put in, let's say just dating in general here, there's more of a headache than enjoyment. But I tell guys, man, like um learn the language. Don't be a creep either. Like don't um get to know the culture, the language, go out there. Like there's plenty, there's an abundance of single girls that you can meet, and it's I would say work on your body, go to the gym, get in better shape. Like this trip, let's say you got a trip going on that should motivate you. All right, I'm going to Colombia, I'm going to Paraguay. Let me lose 10 pounds, for the from now until the flight, get in my game, learn the language and just go out and just you'll see just like a gentleman, approach a woman, hey, my name is this. I'm from here. What is your name? And it is that simple. You can actually approach a woman and have a conversation with her, and it's okay. In New York, it is not okay. In New York, you can't. It's and I didn't bring this up, but I remember I was working. I was doing a pickup. I was at the Wingstop, and there was a chick. She was maybe like 18, 19, 20, maybe like 20 years old around there, more or less. And I was like, hey, so I was waiting around because they were a little delayed. And I asked her, I was like, how's your day going? Like, how's everything going? Like, just a simple question, like, oh, ¿cómo va? ¿Cómo va tu día? Like, how's your day going? And she just looked at me like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, did you, like, if I was just like a creeper, like, I was like, she just looked at me so like,
Disgust.
shocked and like disgusted and like if I don't know. I just literally asked her how her day was,
Yeah.
and that was like just like, why are you talking to me? Type of thing, you know.
Well,
And at that moment, I'm like, wow, it's just we've gotten so far away from just from humanity. Like here in this country, has just gone so far away from being just basic human,
yeah.
contact. It's just like a simple, like you can go in Paraguay. Doesn't matter how old the chick is. If you say, hey, ¿cómo va? Like, oh, todo bien, muchas gracias. You know, they'll say, yeah, I'm good. How are you? They'll ask how you're doing. You can literally go have a conversation with somebody, whether it's you have an intention of getting a number. You can at least talk to her, and they'll talk to you like like you're a human being, but not just look at you like on some weird creep or like, you know, and it could be like that. Not everywhere in the U.S., but like in the major cities, it's like really women are completely. And I get it. Women have their guard up because like as a woman, especially in New York, you get hit on a lot. They're constantly bombarded by men. Um, but and another thing I love about Latin America is that the men are not. There's so many beautiful women that the men are not like women don't go through that crazy harassment that they'll go through in the states like and the yeah this is like in Colombia, men they'll look, wow, she's pretty hot chick, and then that's it, But like here in New York, like a guy would like see a girl, he would follow her and like
Yeah.
be behind her and talking to her and hearing like, hey, like like that is a normal occurrence. So I understand where women come from,
Yeah.
but in Latin, it's not like that as in Latin America.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, look, I mean, that's you said a lot of good stuff. I completely agree with you, man. And like, yeah, no matter how people want to feel about it, yeah, you're gonna have better options overseas. They are more beautiful. They are more
100% more
they're
feminine, like yeah.
yeah, they're yeah, exactly. And it's incomparable. And even if you try to date like Latinas back in the States, like I always did, it's still not gonna be the same experience. Because you have to be in a healthy society, like you were just saying. And if you're not, then it's you're never gonna have the same. I don't care, and in fact, not only that, but even like girls who have came to the States within like a year or two, they could be Americanized completely,
Yeah.
and for the worst, right? Adopt the selfishness, individualism, hypergamy, talking down to men, or doing this. Oh, in fact, what's funny is, but you said that like that story that you brought up, you all you did was ask how the day, how the girl's day is going. And I don't know if you follow Life with David in Colombia, but he had a similar story when he was living back.
Yeah, I do. I do watch. I like that guy. Yeah, I've watched his videos for years now.
So he has a similar story back in Texas, and also Kid Greatness. I did a reaction video on him. He was in New York and he was approaching, and he said, "Yeah, absolutely nobody wants to talk to you." And this is not just a problem in New York. I mean, this is all over the United States. I mean, this is the West Coast where I'm from, in the Midwest, in the
I think in Western countries, bro, and Europe too is happening. A
yeah,
lot of European guys say the same thing, man.
exactly.
That
I was gonna
if you're like a regular guy, like it's crazy, and this is what I'm talking about. If you're just in America, and look, I'm capable. If I really want, I can go out and date. I can get a girl here. I can. There's no problem for me. I can get a girl. But in America, if you're just a regular guy, literally, bro, like you have zero value if you're just an average guy with a regular job. Like you're completely like you're invisible. Like people have just like how do I say it? That they just what's the word I'm looking for? They
You're invisible.
made just they vilified just a man, like men, you know, and it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
a regular unless you're celebrity or somebody important, like you know, just if you're just a regular guy, let's say regular guy, regular looks, regular job, you're like worthless. And a lot of men feel like that. A lot of men feel like they have no value. They're not valued, they're not appreciated. And it's true because they kind of put like all this value on women. Like, oh, if you just for you being a woman, you're fucking a queen and you're fucking, you're super important. Like, but men, if you're just a regular guy with a regular job, like, society is, you're completely invisible to society, you know? And a lot of men are feeling that way. They feel like, yo, like nobody values me, you know. And then when you go abroad and you get treated this way, this way, like you get treated so much better because it is like the man is still like seen as like the head, you know, like the leader, the head of the house. Like they still have those gender, you know. Of course, women depend more on the man. Which I mean, if you think about it, is it a bad exchange? I mean, you know, you let's say in that America, you're expected to provide, right? You're expected to have those gender roles, and then yeah, you do, but you get the exchange. I feel like if you get the woman, the feminine woman, the outgoing, fun, loving, and you know, I just feel like the because if you in the States, if you get a woman that makes more money than you or as much money as you know, I feel like that can be very conflicting, you know, because it's just like when a woman doesn't need you, like if she makes more money than you, is more successful than you, it's just like hypergamy is a kick in. It's just like,
Yeah.
you know, I just feel like that a lot oftentimes doesn't work in the long run, you know.
Yeah.
But but yeah, man, there's something seriously wrong, you know. A lot of men, you know, people you can't just how do I say it? What's the word I'm looking for? You can't just turn off like or put aside like how people feel. If a lot of men feel this way and they're saying this and they agree on it, you know, they it's for a reason. It's for a reason that these guys that this movement is becoming so powerful because this is how men feel.
Yeah.
So there's some validity on that. You know, that's valid. You know, it's there's truth into it that all these men that are because you know the passport bro movement is just like so strong and powerful. A lot of men are going abroad to live, you know, their life, their daily life, and because they feel they it's not for nothing. Like they feel so much more. Like they feel like a man. They feel great. They you know they it's just like um we've gotten so disconnected. You know, like it's very it's scary almost. You know, like wow, where are we going? You know, in the future, like you know you got the our. I mean, another reason why I don't want to get into politics, you know, but the birth rate in the United States is on a huge decline. You know, and that doesn't you know we that's a whole other topic, but you know it's very normal now to people in their mid 30s and be childless. You know,
Yeah.
it's a serious problem. You know, I don't have you know none of my most of my relatives, a lot of my relatives my age or older don't have kids. You know, it's very common to see somebody 35, 40 alone, no kids, and
Yeah.
that is that is a serious issue that needs to get addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you said. And no matter how many people, yeah, want to feel a certain way or be offended at what we're talking about, the thing is, you guys, is like this is I've heard it from men all over the Western world, Australia, uh, Europe, Canada, everywhere in the U.S., every corner in the U.S. Right? I don't give a fuck if you're from the north, south, east, west coast. It doesn't matter. It's all the same degeneracy. I talk about this all the time. And it's you know it's individualism, it's hypergamy, it's and not only that, like me, I was in a longer return relationship, right? I made a simple mistake, just whatever, right? And she ended the whole thing, right? And not only that, I'll just be honest, but she entered in something else that ended up being ridiculously worse for her, right? So this is a woman, like you were just talking about, literally hitting her mid 30s and like not taking, like she should have, and we talked about this, like having a family seriously, having kids seriously. So like they leave good men. That's what I'm talking about. Like, and here it's the opposite. Men, because there's usually no consequences, they end up fucking over wonderful, beautiful women down here. And this is played out in my family on a societal level as well. Because in the States, there's almost no consequences, or at least there's no perceived consequences for a lot of women to break off decent or good relationships or marriages. And here it's the opposite. Normally it's the guy who's fucking shit up pretty bad down here.
Wow, that's so true, bro. I 100%. It's crazy you brought that up because hearing it, I'm like, wow, that is really that that's so real. That is so like um the fact that in the U.S., it's like now it's like women are men, like women in the U.S. are becoming more and more masculine and are having more and more masculine behavior. And but in Latin America, you have that you have like the guy that they dump and leave good women, but in the U.S., if women are leaving good men and going their own way. It's just like it's just crazy
Yeah,
how just how polar like the two regions are. It's complete opposites, in every aspect.
yeah, yeah, down to the core, man. And it's like, I feel honestly, I feel a little bit bad for my ex. I try to tell her, I was like, look, this is the world is not going to treat you the same way as when we entered a relationship in our early/mid 20s, right? I'm like, look, you're gonna maybe have a lot more guys try to play you up in your 30s. She didn't want to listen. Next thing I know, I get a phone call a year and a half later when I'm in Paraguay. You know what she told me? She told me, you were absolutely right. And I try to tell her, look, this is exactly why you don't just break good things off, right? You don't just get rid of good men, right? But I'm like looking back, I'm really glad that we broke off because I would have not done any of this. Moved here, like all the stuff that I needed to do in life. So I'm doing very very well. I'm dating beautiful women, even and they're way nicer. It's a much more pleasant. There, yeah, there's some like gold diggers and stuff I've had to deal with for sure.
Oh
But
yeah,
even
that's
when you
100%.
get, yeah, even when you get past some of that, and then you find like a chill girl, even if it doesn't even last that long, it's still way better, man.
Oh
And
yeah, man. Yeah, I agree, bro. It's just it really is, bro. And
yeah,
um, I forgot that I lost my train of thought. You were talking about the sorry, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
oh, you're good.
The girl break up on oh yeah, sorry. So another thing I want to say is that amongst within all this, like I'm sure a lot of men are exhausted mentally and are just so out of it and just are losing their mind right now, right? A lot of young men that are struggling. One thing I want to say, and this is I don't want to demonize women or nothing like that, but as a man, um, one thing that has given me sanity and peace of mind is that like you have to understand that if you're a man, time is on a man's side, you know. Time is on the man's side no matter what. So women have it good, like women have their best years when they're young. Nobody's gonna compete like a 20, 21-year-old chick that's super hot, like she's invincible, practically. If she's in the States, like if you're 20, 21, 22 years old, you're really hot, like you always get your way. Guys are constantly throwing themselves at you. People guys are constantly inviting you out to the best dates, to the finest restaurant, to the best vacations. Like you just haven't made, when you're young.
Yeah,
That's when you're young. But as you get that has an expiration date. I don't want to say an expiration date, but like that, as you get a woman gets older, she's gonna lose her child. There's some genetic outliers and stuff like that. But women have it good when they're young. Once they get older, and especially if they have children, that changes. So, but as a man, you have much more time on your plate. Men, because just how things work. Men, definitely as long as you get on your purpose, as long as you get your stuff together, you have your finances in order, you work, you maintain, physical fitness, your health. In the long run, you're gonna be good. It's gonna be good for you. It's gonna be a lot better for you, and that's what I think. I feel like as long as I stick to my my purpose, my finances, I'm doing good for myself, physically fit. I'm not gonna have any problem dating, or finding a partner. I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I'll add on to that, yeah, all those are, yeah, pillars of being a successful man, person, and in dating. But the one thing I will add on top of that is there's more context taken into consideration dating in Latin America. So yeah, yeah, you might be solid. And honestly, they're already gonna know that you're at least stable if you're coming as a foreigner. Nobody just flies somewhere and is just, well, I guess maybe there might be a couple cases guys are just unstable as hell. But like normally they know that you got a good head on your shoulders. But what I bring up, and I brought this up in my dating video, is like in America, for example. I remember it was the dumbest shit ever, right? I just came back from Paraguay. Women down here love music to the core, poetry, whatever
Big
the
rock.
stuff. Yeah, and then I stupidly like wrote this girl a poem in the States, right? And she just looked at me like I was just disgusted, like what the fuck? And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa! I just came from Latin America. They love this shit. If you like, even if you just send like I write songs and stuff, right? So I'm deep into poetry. They love that shit down here. Like whatever, so like
Wow.
I'd be sending whatever the fuck, to girls here, and they adore it. They love it. They love the creativity. But also like things like if you're a dancer, that goes so goddamn far down here. Dancing, singing, karaoke, poetry. So you're looked at as more of like a there's way more context, and not only that, but if you do something interesting like Luis Jose and I am doing, oh, that works to your benefit too. In fact, I went out yesterday, right? And I was talking in English. I went live. They realized I was American, right? These girls eyed me like crazy and pretty much like wanted me to say hi. Like they eyed me so crazy, like they were staring me down. And then and they were with the dude too, and I didn't want to be like. That's why I actually didn't approach them because they were with the dude, but they pretty much wanted me to say hi. So I was like, hola. It was like the last like 10 minutes of my live yesterday. But cute girls, and they were like, oh yeah, oh, what's your channel name or whatever, and they were just super interested. So if you do interesting things, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, and like you can like prove like you got a channel or something like that, or you're doing like cool work down here that's beyond just making money. But if you're actually doing something cool, put it on people or places, like they take all that into consideration. you know
Wow. No, that's a great point. That's a honestly very good point. It's true. But and to add on to what you were saying earlier about the poem thing, right? That to a girl here was be like she'll be creeped out, like
Yeah,
this guy, like you're weird or you're a creep or
yeah,
you're a weirdo, like what the hell, you're gonna be a poem,
yeah,
that I thought when you said that, like, you brought it back to the 2000s. That's something I
yeah,
did. I'd do like back in the day. And like you would write a girl poem. Give up. And now, like nobody brings up flowers to a date. Nobody does that. Oh, girls say, "Okay, I want a guy to bring me flowers." But I promise you right now, girls at this point in America, girls are hardwired to like if a guy brings you flowers, there's something wrong with him, or there's something, or he's doing too much, or it's just
Jesus.
like, for example, if you bring a rose to the first date, that's considered weird,
Yeah,
in America. That's like, yo, ooh, that's like the first date without. You do it in Paraguay, totally fine. That the girl's gonna be like, wow, a little something, but it's just, you see how fucking backwards we got it,
yeah, yeah,
that doing basic little shit that, 20 years ago would have been considered, fine, or like very romantic or nice, or it's just like, I don't know, like if you see like the old shows of like the 50s or 60s, like the guy would like be on his way to work and then he'll grab like a rose petal, like a little flower from the tree, and then he'll see a girl, he'll give it to her, you can't do that shit now. Like what? They're gonna be like, oh, what the hell, you fucking like creep. Like you
yeah.
just see how disconnected we've gotten, but
Or
it's
they'll,
crazy.
yeah, or they'll look at you like you're either weak or a simp. If you like in America, if you were to bring a
Yeah.
rose to a girl, yeah, Dude, yeah, everything's so fucking backwards, and like nobody trusts anybody. I think that's a big aspect too in
People
America.
are very cynical about all these Yo, that shit is so like over the last like couple years, like all you see is just all this cynical energy. Everybody's just so untrusting and fearful of everybody else. All these little red flags, this, that. If this person does this, if you know, or if this they do say this, if they have this kind of habit, red flag, watch out for it. Like it's just like, yo, nobody look, and this is a problem. This is the problem in America, bro. Nobody is going to be perfect. Nobody, if like people need to get that through their heads that you're never. People want this perfect. People have this superficial mentality that they want this perfect partner in their head. That if it ain't like this and he doesn't like they want this perfect person, you know, and it doesn't exist. You know, they want this perfect person with no flaws that is just like everything. It has to just be in line and perfect. And that's not gonna happen. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has flaws and bad habits. And you know, nobody is perfect, you know, and I think people just forgot that. You know, they just don't understand that. Like, you know, you're gonna have people with red flags. You're gonna have stuff that you don't like. Like you're gonna meet a guy or a woman, and there's gonna be stuff you don't like about them. It could be them. It could be, you know, it's a lot of things that you just, you know, that's a part of it. You know, like my grandparents are still married. They fight and argue all every day, all day and every day. You know, but you know, um, back then, you know, they were more, I guess, I could say like resilient or like what's the word I'm looking for? Like they um were more. How do I? What's the word? People back then had a lot more flaws and they had a lot of defects, but they made up for it, you know, in other ways.
Yeah.
But now people have flaws and these defects, but they, you know, they don't do anything. They're just there's no, you know,
Yeah.
there's no balancing it out, or there's no like, okay, you know, I'm not perfect, I'm not this, but then, you know, I could bring this to the table. Now people just want fucking, they don't want to do shit, they want to be shitty, and they just want fucking a perfect person, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's
No,
crazy, you know, and that's the reality, you know. Nobody's
exactly.
gonna be perfect. You're never gonna get like um the perfect like you know it's just you know like Bob Marley once said. I'm not saying you need to suffer for other you know you shouldn't have somebody to mistreat you or treat you bad or you know, but if they're 90% good to go, like if they you know they're 90 95 I don't know, let's say 90% great. I'm gonna say 10% things you don't like. I think that's good enough. Yeah, I think that's fine. Like, if 95% of the time this chick is fucking, you know, awesome. If she pisses me off 5% of the time, I think I could live with that. I don't know. I'm easygoing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, most guys are. And yeah, well, you know, one thing too, that people who are in long-term relationships and married and like have had kids and like keep it going, their marriages, they benefit so much. For example, my parents are together. Their lives weren't perfect. They're, you know, not everything went perfect, but guess what they're doing now? Because they stuck it out, they're traveling the world right now as a couple. You know what I mean? And that's the this those are the benefits that will bless you for the rest of your life if you know how to stick it out. Now, obviously, if there's stupid shit going on like physical abuse or something, like that's a whole
yeah,
nother story. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about like, okay, for example, whatever, somebody loses a job, whatever. Okay, well, we're a couple. We need to stick this shit out. Oh yeah, I could get rid of you, but the next guy might not be as good as you overall in your heart and have as much appreciation for you, right? Which is exactly what happened to my ex, right? She's living this shit because, you know, she wanted to, and not only that, but I remember before we broke it off, I was starting to send her houses down here, right? I was like, look, we could live an amazing life if we do a few things, right? And now she's seeing me post all this shit, like the houses for around 100K, like extraordinarily beautiful,
oh
40.
yeah, I saw that. It was, I was like, oh, I think I ran into your video like way before, and I didn't even notice. But I've seen like the people showing like houses in Paraguay. I don't know if your video was one of them, but I've seen those videos like with the 100K, and then you get like 4 bedrooms, and it's just like wow, like
Yeah, like
um
you feel like you're damn near in a mansion. I was like, look, we could do a few things to figure out this life, and then we can live an extraordinary life, right? But it's like, okay, well, I guess I wasn't fucking perfect. So, okay, let's break it off. And then I guess good luck for you. I know I have more time. And not only that, but I've been to my country. I know what kind of woman I could find. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah.
I was like, and I don't know, man, it's just far too many women. Even if they get into something good, they're gonna kill it in the West. And then that goes to like, and you see like your parents and grandparents, they benefited to the last days of their lives because they stuck it out. And yeah, it wasn't perfect all the time, but that's the benefit of like, and that's why girls down here also, like when they look at you, they're not just, well, some of them, but so many look at you in the long term. Like, damn, this dude is gonna be like stable. I could be by his side. He's a traveler. I bet you I could go more places with him than if I were to just be by myself or just like whatever, date multiple guys who aren't going to appreciate me. I'm probably going to have more of a stable family or a chance at a stable family. Not only that, but he's a Westerner, so he has more appreciation for me overall, because he didn't have, because like he understands the value of a good, humble, traditional, beautiful Latino woman. So they know this stuff. So like when they look at you, they're like, yeah, he's cool, and like he's hitting a lot of my green check marks. But even on top of that, like I mean, they damn near want you to be hubby. You know what I mean? So, and in America, so many times, like, oh, let me just think about next week or next maybe a month out, or just a date night, or oh man, like something went wrong, so I just want a date. And but I'm not thinking like 5, 10, 15, 20 years out, the rest of my life out. But a lot of these girls do down here. So, you know,
That's a really good point. Yeah.
yeah,
No, 100%. I agree. That is um, it's a different environment, different society, different values. But as time goes on, like the West, is just going more and more further away from just basic just human connection. Like it's very sad, and that's why this movement has been growing so strong. A lot of guys um um are looking out to different places because the world is so big. Like you know you got Latin America. I see myself probably eventually settling somewhere in Latin America, but there's still so many places I want to go and see and experience. And honestly, like once you go out and do it, and the experience is just it's like you can't go back. It's just like wow, like um I mean, I don't know. It's just for me. I definitely I think dating just abroad is just it's gonna be like I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure there's plenty of there's good women out there here in the U.S. In some places, I'm sure there's some states where it's not like in California or New York or Miami. I mean, Miami is probably the worst place to date I've ever. Miami's probably the worst.
yeah,
I don't think there's any place in the world that's worse in dating than Miami. But I'm sure there's places out there. But yeah, man, it's you can't. I mean, it's just this is so much better. But dating in Brazil or in Colombia or in the Paraguay is it's just a great place to just to be a man. To be a man with with opportunity, with purpose, with it's so much better. Like everything just elevates. Like it goes up.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Things that you can't even buy with money. Just like the daily treatment you get from people and women. It's just like those are the things that are,
Exactly.
are priceless, priceless. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, so I guess overall, you guys, we're gonna wrap this up, but this was a wonderful conversation. And also one last point I'll make: look at this connection that we've made. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen his channel, he's seen my channel a little bit. So like we reached out, we thought this will be mutually beneficial. And plus, like, it's good. Well, it'll probably grow both of our channels. But these are the connections that you guys need to be making along the way. There are quite a few expats who kind of create their own little bubble in their new countries, and like, they won't barely speak to other expats or locals, or they don't prioritize learning the language or the culture. That's something that, uh, we know, probably better than even maybe 80% of people traveling.
Yeah,
Um,
you made a good point about like earlier you said about like it's me and you, like how we have a lot in common.
mhm.
And you'll be surprised how much more in common you have with somebody else like that like another expat or another person, because um, you both made this move. I'm sure a lot of your values and a lot of your, you know, a lot of your things like align. So we have a lot in common. Like we can get along, and we think very similarly. As and that's which is justifiable. What we're saying is has a lot of weight behind it.
Yeah.
But you can definitely connect with many people. There's so many opportunities out there. The I think I heard a statistic that the social media, like the economy of social media, is gonna grow. Is gonna double in the next 3-4 years. It's still in its infancy, so there's a lot of room for growth. Um, for the guys that are watching in the states, at least, um, I think that the you would think that the traveling, like it is very popular. It has grown a lot, and a lot of people have traveled, but there's a lot of people that still haven't gotten on a plane.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people. So with that being said, take a chance, just go somewhere, get on a plane if you haven't, and if you have traveled and you want to live abroad, there's many ways to do it. There's people that I've met countless people that work from home that um a lot of companies don't allow it, but some people manage to do it. I have I think a buddy of mine. He does cybersecurity. He has a six-figure job, and he lives in Colombia.
Hmm.
So just imagine like how good you could live, making USD. Because the biggest thing there's the income. Like how I'm gonna make money. Like if I live in Colombia or Mexico or Paraguay, how am I gonna work? Well, 2025, baby. There's a lot of technology
Yep.
where you can start, a business. You can, work remote or get a job that allows you to work remote, because you don't really need, even if you work minimum wage, even if you get minimum wage in a minimum wage job,
Yep.
remote, it's still plenty Paraguay. Let's say you do minimum wage, $15 an hour or whatever it is. That's about 1,000 every 2 weeks. That's 2,000 a month. That's double what you said your expenses were. So
Yep.
with a minimum wage job remote in Latin America, that's more than enough to live
Yeah.
well.
And, $2,000 is a lot of money down here. A
Oh
lot.
yeah,
And I just broke
yeah,
down my
Paraguay.
budget. Yeah, I broke down my budget, and then I just actually did a poll. I was surprised how many people actually answered this poll. Last time I checked, it was like 33 people answered, but I laid it out, and like most people, if they can make up to 1750, well, let's call it 2,000. I mean, you're gonna be fine over most of these countries we're talking about.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, so minimum wage. So like, yeah, and but even on top of that, even the guys who are working for these companies, that might not last forever. So that's where something like YouTube comes in, right? So like you can start transitioning into your own thing, being your own boss. Yeah, it might take a while. It's taking us a while, but it's a worthwhile journey. No matter if you go back to the States or not. You know why? Because this is what I said earlier. You're going to be so much more dynamic, have more stories, have more validity to what you're talking about. I don't listen to guys who only listen to who only have ever lived in the States, or their one state or their one city. I don't care what they have to say about dating. Uh, I want to hear from the guys who have been around the world, because they have more. They know more now. You know what I mean? They have different cultures, and they've been with different women around the world. So when they come back and talk about dating, okay, well, okay, let me hear what you got to say. Uh,
yeah.
so
To go back to the cost of living, man, like it's anybody will tell you right now that the cost of living, inflation in the United States is just out the roof. Like living is becoming harder and harder and more expensive. Like it's serious. So when I went to Paraguay and I just saw after pandemic, after inflation hit the whole world, after the fact of all of that, Paraguay is extreme. Like it was just mind-boggling cheap. I was like, wow. Like a dollar is about what, 7,800, 7,800 Guarani, more or less, give or take.
Yep.
And when I got to Paraguay, I was like, no way. Like $1.50 for a meal, $2. Like, oh, yo, I kid you not. When I was like, all right, I'm leaving the US, like I went to a bar and they had a special. I had, those little giant Viking beer things, like the jug. I got three of those. So for it was a sale, it was 20,000 for three. So it was like 80 cents, 80 US for a giant jug of beer.
Oh yeah.
I was like, no, this is unbelievable, bro. It's literally
There's
it's just bizarre.
yeah, the special down here that you'll see a lot of places around 5,000 for tap beer, which is what 60 cents or so. So like just yeah, just like you were saying. So okay, so you say
Great.
you and your buddies have 3 to 5 beers. What are you talking? 250, $3? So it's like, and in the States, I mean, you have to buy your beer, then you got a tip, and then so you're talking maybe $40 versus three. You know what I mean?
And your personal part, what you can do is like, let's say for example, like I said in the US, like everybody's working, nobody has, people who are, struggling and stuff like that. You buy three big beers for $2, $2.50. I could just be like, yo, two locals, two buddy lines, like, yo, let's grab a beer. Like,
Yeah.
I got it, no problem. For $3, I could freaking eat like for $10, you can $10, not even exaggerating. 10 USD. I can invite two locals, two friends. I invite them out, pay for 3 rounds, have a good time,
Yep.
and just have like I could just have a nice little in DR we like to call it coro. A coro is like a hang like a vibe like you're with friends or family. A coro is like a vibe.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically I could just create, yo, what's up, guys? What you doing? Yo, let's go to a bar on me. Cause oh no, I can't go. I'm right now things are not good. Don't worry, I got it. You can do that. Like you have those possibilities to just like, you know, not worry about money. Not like for example, another thing I love is like when I go to a restaurant or something, I don't really have to like look at like the price. Like in the US,
Oh
I
yeah.
really have to like look at the price and just like calculate in my head, like, damn, like now when I go out to eat here, when I buy food, I'm just like really like, damn, like looking at the prices and just like, damn, this is like I can't even add guac because it's like $5, or adding an egg is like $3 or it's just like
Yeah.
but in Latin America, with USD, you can go out, drinks. I can eat out every meal, no problem.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, so you can't do that in the US.
Yeah.
So to have that quality of life, to be able to live the life you want to have that kind of life in the US, it costs so much money. Like to live that kind of life, to live in a good place, to live in a good area, right? To go out a lot to restaurants, to go out every weekend. Like you need to make us like in New York to live a really good life and like to live in a good place in Manhattan, have a good social life, eat out. I think you need to make like $200,000, bro, in
Yeah.
New York, bro, to
I was
live
really
good.
gonna say that number. I was gonna say that number. And you know what's crazy about New York as well? There are people who come out with these videos that are like $5,000 to live in a studio in Manhattan. That $5,000, literally, I paid $5,000 for this place for 1 year. So it's like I would much rather live here for 365 days versus 30 fucking days in a city. But I mean, fuck rent. Then you got everything on top of that. What you're talking about, and New
No,
York, you guys have the highest prices I think in the entire country when it comes to food as well. So
it's terrible.
yeah, I mean, and like I mean, fuck, I could break down all this shit all day, but like,
Yeah, all day, exactly, man. Cause like, yo, bro, 5,000 a month in Paraguay can get you like a 12-bedroom mansion, bro.
well,
It's that.
you know what's crazy too is like I actually wanted to. I didn't even want this place. I wanted somewhere even cheaper. But like next year, when I get a different apartment, and I'll buy probably 2 years from now. I'll end up purchasing a house. But
You
Uh,
should look into that, bro.
yeah, no,
I,
I will be. I'm, you know what? In fact, I'm gonna buy one of those $37,000 houses in the condo, what's it called, in the gated community that I just filmed. I'm gonna end up living probably in there because it's dog friendly, and I need a dog friendly place.
nice. Are you
Uh,
dual citizen? Did you become a Paraguayan citizen?
so I got permanent residency. Yeah,
Oh, nice, nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I can stay here as long as I want. It's no thing, right? Um, But yeah. But anyways, so at least for one more year, I will be renting. But the next year, I'm gonna be paying. Well, if I get this certain place in Capiatá, which is closer to my family, $152 a month. For
Oh my God.
a 2 bedroom modern house. Yeah, it's a tiny little thing. But you know, it has a little kitchen area, whatever. And I already purchased all my furnishings. So like I just rent 152 a month. What would that be times 12? I don't know, $2,000 or something like that. So yeah, I mean, people are making ridiculous decisions living in the US and pretending like it's normal. And just like, you know, try, even if you're super successful. I have a friend that's really successful, making around like $150,000 a year, or maybe even more by now. I don't even know. But he told me like, bro, I never have any money. I'm over here like, what?
Yeah. You know,
What?
it's this is how I was talking about how it comes down to how you administer yourself. And
Yeah.
that's why I thought, look, he makes 150K a year. I bet you he has like a crazy expensive car, pays ridiculous amount for rent. You know, it's just like you making 50K a year and making 150, you know, if you don't administer yourself correctly, you know, at the end of the day, you're not gonna have any money left because people just go out and buy all these things they don't need, all these material stuff. You know, I detach myself from the materialistic things, and I value more experiences. You know, so instead of buying, you know, Gucci belt, fancy watches, or you know, or fancy things, you know, I prefer to go on travel, you know, and be able to have those experiences, and it's paid off because we have this, we know this, we've lived it. We went to other countries and we see what you can get, you know, for way less. So for 10 times less, you can live a really good quality of life, and that is so significant. And just imagine, and I think about this sometimes. I'm like, imagine the guys, and there's I met them. I met guys that make six figures and they live in the Paraguays and the Colombias. Just imagine them. Like, imagine making having a six figure income and living in Paraguay. Like you're literally like the 1% of the 1%. Like you're literally living. It's godly. Like to have a six figure income in Paraguay. It's just like wow. You know, and there's people like that.
Oh yeah.
Imagine, you know, I mean, 2K a month in Paraguay is excellent.
Yeah.
Five, six, 7K is you don't need anymore.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it. I have faith in your channel and mine, dude. We are gonna be those guys. Off
100%.
off of here on YouTube. I'm calling it. We're both innovative in our own ways, and not only that, the last thing I'll say, and then we'll wrap this up, is you guys have to be good people, and you have to maintain your integrity, and you can't. Yeah, we might grow slower because of that in comparison to some channels who do degenerate shit. But guess what? They're gonna crash. We're not, but me and you are not. But a lot of these other guys, yeah, they might get off the bat, but they end up crashing. They end up doing something really stupid. They might make good money too, but if a society like they're guys being run out of the Colombias and the Brazils because they do dumb shit, and I'm not getting run out of my country because I don't do that shit. Or even if I do stuff that maybe not everybody might like, I'm definitely not gonna fucking be filming it, you know. And like he said earlier, like don't be a creep either, dude. I talk about that all the fucking time. Like don't be a fucking creep either because like you guys don't understand. This is not America, dude. Like Paraguay, people know what goes on in Paraguay. This is a small little country, so like people latch on to things and like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Just to add one last thing to that,
yeah.
and to wrap it up. By the way, I want to thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this. Like you are awesome, bro. Like I needed this. Like and I already that just made me not only like give me that motivation. Yo, I'm doing a Zoom call with somebody like it's like an interview, and it's just like wow, this is real. Like I'm you know, it really gives me so much more meaning, you know, and you know I feel like somebody, you know, and I really appreciate you for that. Just want to express that gratitude. Um, and definitely, I agree. We're locked in. Like we're locked in. There's no turning back. Like we're gonna make this happen. And I say that, you know, I tell guys, you know, don't think like you're invincible or untouchable. You know, there's some people, you know, that they've had a good amount of success, but then like don't let it get into your head, and don't, you know, be humble. You know, it's very important to stay humble, even if, you know, you become super successful. Don't forget where you came from, and just don't think you're invincible or untouchable. You know, you want to remain humble and, you know, do the right thing, and just be a good person. You know, and don't forget where you come from.
Absolutely. I totally agree, man. And yeah, thanks for joining me, man. And not right now, but maybe if you want me to come on your channel as well, I can tell them a little bit more of my story, etc. We can figure that out down the line, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we can keep this conversation going. We'll do a part two, three, whatever down the line. Maybe a whatever month or two out or something like that. We'll see
Yeah.
where everything is at, and we'll get caught up and bring in other topics maybe that you guys want us to cover. But yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, dude. Talking real talk, and we got a similar mindset, and I got a lot of respect for you too, man. So
Appreciate you. Yo, it's likewise, man. Thank you so much for bringing me on, man. I really like what you're doing. It's really inspirational. Like that you're the go-to guy for Paraguay, definitely. If I had several guys ask me about it when I made the videos, a lot of guys were asking me about Paraguay because of it being so unknown and people didn't know anything about it. And me going there, there's very few YouTubers and content of Paraguay. So I got asked a lot about it. I didn't know you then, but moving forward, you know, you're definitely gonna be the go-to guy.
well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, you guys. Hey, thanks for watching an incredibly long video, but we're gonna be out of here, and then we're just sticking there for another collab. Go follow his channel, you guys. You already know Luis Jose Global. You already know who I am, right? Naranda, my best life Paraguay. And yeah, we're gonna link up here.
Definitely.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, I need to go. I need another trip to Paraguay, 100%.
Hell yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. Take care.